What if nothing in your life has ever been random? Not the pain, not the delay, not even the heartbreak. Zen wisdom whispers, the obstacle is not the enemy, it is the path itself. What if life isn't testing you, but transforming you in ways you only understand once you stop resisting? In the quiet, sacred rhythm of the universe, absolutely nothing is ever truly misplaced. A leaf drifting slowly to the earth, a star fading gently into the night, a heart breaking under the weight of goodbye. Even the storm that uproots all exist precisely where they belong in the grand design of life. Though to the unawakened eye, reality may appear harsh, random, even senselessly cruel, the ancient wisdom of Zen and the compassionate insight of the Buddha offer a far deeper, more gentle truth. What looks like disorder is often the very beginning of deep inner order. What feels meaningless is, in fact, often the silent seed of awakening. As the Zen saying reminds us, the snow falls each flake in its proper place. Those who are enlightened do not see chaos and pain, but design. They see opportunity hidden within loss, transformation within grief, and clarity emerging from confusion. What others discard as tragedy, they recognize as teaching. Every single moment, whether fleeting or painful, joyful or tragic, arrives with a hidden message, a sacred lesson sculpted by the unseen hand of karma and the eternal currents of cause and effect. Not one second is wasted. Not one experience is without meaning. To see this clearly, one must release the need to control life's every turn. We must become observers rather than fixers, silent witnesses rather than anxious judges. It takes the eyes of a quiet, still mind and the patience of a mountain to see the deeper patterns unfolding beneath the surface. Let this story open those eyes within you. A solitary man once walked along a winding forest path, his heart weighed down by a sorrow he could not name. The golden light of morning filtered gently through the tall, ancient trees, yet to him, the world remained dim, colorless, and distant. He had lost his livelihood, the source of his dignity and survival. Those once close to him had turned away in misunderstanding and silence. Now, he found himself exiled not just from society, but from every sense of comfort, safety, and companionship he once knew. His body moved forward, but his mind stayed trapped in the past, rooted in grief and regret. Why did this happen? He asked, speaking softly into the still air. Why me? The path beneath his feet seemed just as lost as he felt, winding in strange directions, overgrown, and cluttered with fallen branches and shadows of uncertainty. Ahead, a quiet stream whispered across rocks, undisturbed by the chaos in his heart. He knelt beside it, thirsty and tired, and as the cool water touched his lips, something unusual caught his eye, a dead tree branch lodged between two stones. It had blocked the stream's direct path, yet the water did not resist. It did not rage or complain. Instead, it simply curved, gentle, graceful, finding another way forward without losing its essence. In that simple image, he found his first glimpse of clarity. The dead branch, wedged firmly between the stones, had forced the stream to alter its direction. But the stream did not resist. It didn't thrash, didn't rage, didn't mourn the loss of its original path. It simply curved, flowed, adapted, graceful and untroubled. It found a new way forward, never once losing its essence or purpose. It did not pause. It did not complain. It just kept moving, soft and strong. The man stood, and for a fleeting but profound moment, silence entered him, not just around him, but within. That single breath of stillness would be the first of many sacred signs. Because when the path you knew ends, it is not death, it is rebirth. Often, what feels like a cruel loss is actually a divine redirection. He didn't yet know where he was going, but something urged him to continue walking. Each step forward was weighted with grief, yet wrapped in quiet curiosity. Despite the heaviness in his heart, the forest did not echo his sorrow. Birds continued to sing their ancient songs. Leaves danced in the breeze as if celebrating change. A rabbit darted playfully across the trail, reminding him that life untouched by human expectation goes on. Soon, he arrived at a bridge once grand, now reduced to a fractured ruin. Broken beams lay scattered across a ravine like the remnants of dreams once believed to be unshakable. "This is my life," he whispered to himself. But just as despair began to rise, his eyes caught sight of something easily missed, a narrow path, almost hidden, leading downward beside the wreckage. Curiosity, small but persistent, rose like a flicker of light. For the first time in days, it burned brighter than his sorrow. He followed the narrow trail. The path was steep, unkempt, wild with roots and stones. Yet it led into a valley untouched by man, a secret sanctuary of beauty and stillness he would never have discovered had the bridge remained intact. In Buddhist wisdom, it is taught, when conditions cease, things end. When conditions arise, things begin. The bridge had not failed him, it had fulfilled its purpose. Its fall was not the end, but the gateway to something greater. And so, he walked forward not in resistance, but in reverence. His suffering had become sacred signal. In the heart of that hidden valley, he did not find noise or answers, he found a deeper silence. Not the silence of emptiness, but the fullness of calm presence. By a still pond, he watched dragonflies dance over the water's surface, each movement delicate and deliberate. The ache in his heart remained, but this time, he did not push it away. He allowed it to breathe, to move through him like wine through tall grass. He asked, "Why do we suffer?" He remembered the Buddha's first noble truth: life is suffering, dukkha. But through this lens, suffering was not punishment. It was not cruelty. It was not failure. It was the messenger. A wise, sometimes brutal, always necessary teacher. Suffering wakes those who have been asleep to their own truth. It humbles the ego. It cracks open the shell of self-deception and invites the soul to grow wings. He reflected on his past, the inner voice he had ignored, the hollow friendships he had clung to, the ambitions he had chased that sparkled brightly but led to emptiness. Pain had arrived not to punish him, but to burn away the illusions he once mistook for reality. The fire had left ashes, and now, those ashes were clearing. A Zen monk once said, "Obstacles do not block the path. They are the path." Now, the man began to understand. Every sorrow carried a secret. Every struggle held a lesson. Pain, bitter as medicine, was the healing he didn't know he needed. The following morning, he encountered a cave where an old traveler sat warming his hands by a small fire. They exchanged no names, no pleasantries, only presence. They shared warmth, silence, and eventually, wisdom. The traveler looked at him and asked, "Why do you sit like a man waiting for a ship that has already sunk?" The man replied, "Because everything I built has collapsed." The traveler smiled, not with pity, but with knowing. Perhaps you were never meant to sail. Perhaps you were meant to grow wings. That night beneath a canopy of stars, the man lay awake, realizing how often he had tried to force life into shapes of his own design, never pausing to ask what life was actually trying to teach him. Every person who left, every dream that crumbled, every door that slammed shut had been a disguised teacher. In Buddhist understanding, every encounter, no matter how fleeting, is karma ripening. Every being we meet, whether they uplift us or wound us, is part of our unfolding. And so, when morning came, the man bowed not to the traveler, but to the invisible order behind it all, to the unseen intelligence guiding each moment with perfect imperfection. Only a still mind, one free from noise, judgment, and resistance, can hear the deeper wisdom life offers. As he sat beneath the open sky, he began reflecting on all the moments that once felt like accidents. The painful failure that forced him to let go of what no longer served him. The betrayal that exposed the attachments he mistook for love. The delay that, though frustrating, ultimately protected him from unseen disaster. Looking back, he saw not chaos, but connection. Pain had not broken him, it had redirected him. The road that crumbled beneath him had not ended the journey, it had revealed the only path that could truly lead him home. He had moved, step by uncertain step, from victimhood to deep witnessing. He no longer repeated the story, "This should not have happened." Instead, he asked the far wiser question, "What is this trying to show me?" That quiet shift from resistance to reflection changed everything. In Zen, this is the beginning of true awakening. When we stop fighting life, when we no longer demand that it look a certain way, and instead learn to observe it with presence and patience, the mind calms. The fog of confusion begins to lift. And from that stillness, clarity returns like sunlight, through morning mist. Suffering no longer swallows us whole. It becomes a mirror reflecting truth, not torment. He remembered how often he had labeled events as bad simply because they didn't match his expectations. But now, he saw that what he once called misfortune had in fact been disguised liberation. Losing something precious made room for what was real. Being rejected protected him from an illusion. Delays had not robbed him, they had saved him from arriving unready. Each setback had been a setup for alignment. Each loss, a hidden safeguard. He no longer saw himself as a victim of random fate. He saw himself as a witness to a sacred unfolding, trusting not because he understood, but because he had seen enough to believe. One morning, the valley was cloaked in thick fog. The path before him vanished into the gray. The world was silent, still, and uncertain. He stood motionless at first, unsure of where to place his next step. And that's when he understood something final, something essential. Not everything is meant to be understood immediately. Some truths must be trusted before they are seen. The mind searches for clarity, but the soul matures in mystery. The fog was not a barrier. It was a blessing in disguise. It slowed him down, made him present, forced him to walk not with certainty, but with care. This, too, was how life teaches, not through constant vision, but through humble trust. The Buddha once taught, let go of the past, let go of the future, and let go of even the present. With a heart set free, cross over to the farther shore of becoming. In other words, surrender. Release the need to know every answer. Let go of needing to understand why. Walk even when the path ahead is hidden. Trust even when your faith feels thin. Life is wiser than you. Let it lead. And so, he walked not because he could see the way, but because he trusted there was one. Everything happens not by accident, but because it must. As the seasons shifted once again, so did the valley. So did the man. He no longer feared the changes. He welcomed them. He no longer resisted loss. He respected it, because now he saw every delay, every heartbreak, every ending, every meeting, every mystery had carried him precisely to the place he was always meant to be. What once looked like a curse had become a chapter of transformation. What once felt like abandonment now revealed itself as guidance. The silence he used to dread had become his greatest friend and teacher. In Zen, it is said, the obstacle is the path, and the path is perfect. This is not blind faith. It is awakened understanding. Everything in life happens not by mistake, but with meaning. Not always obvious, not always immediate, but always exact, always purposeful. If you quiet the mind, if you release the need to control, if you stop resisting, you will begin to see. The universe is not punishing you. It is preparing you. It is not breaking you down to destroy you. It is reshaping you into something more true. Every experience is a note in the greater symphony of your becoming. No moment is wasted. No tear is without purpose. No delay lacks design. When someone walks away, maybe they were only meant to walk part of your journey. When a door closes, perhaps it was never your door, or the room behind it was not ready yet. When life slows you down, perhaps it is your soul, not your body, that needs time to catch up. Nothing happens to you. Everything happens for your awakening. This is the teaching. This is the path. This is Zen. Thank you for walking this path with me. If this message touched something within you, consider subscribing for more content rooted in mindfulness, purpose, and peace. Click the subscribe button below, tap the bell to stay connected, and share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear what resonates most with you.